Or a box of 24 Italian meatballs for $5.99. The second box is free. A box of 60 beef links for $6.49. 60 more are free. 16 onion charburgers for $5.99. The second box.
Oh, yo. What's up, YouTube? I'm back with another banger with y'all, man. If you're new to the channel, go that like button, subscribe, and go comment. So we're going to talk about Baltimore City in the 1980s. And this is another video, man. I know I did the 90s recently. And we're going to talk about Baltimore City in the 1980s. Now, oh, man. Now, this is the time period where, like, the city was having a lot of fun. Different decade. Unfortunately, the Baltimore Colts left us in the early 1980s. Unfortunately, we didn't have no NFL team at that time period, especially throughout the 80s from 84 on to up, man. So, and I want to start with that story also. When the Baltimore Colts left the Ravens, left the city, they left in the Mayflower at 3 o'clock in the morning. They ain't even tell nobody. They just up and left us. I don't know why. I don't know was the city could afford the team anymore. I don't know. They look at the city as a remarkable team, but that's crazy to know that we all got left high and dry in that time period. Now we're going to talk about during the time period during the 80s. So during the 80s, it was a lot of fun actually, because you had like the festivals and a lot of the older people that visit the city so much. They used to have a lot of craft festivals, the Asian festivals, the black festivals, the white festivals, the polo. Anything you can think of for us culture-wise, Baltimore did a great job of knowing how to make some money. See, in this time period, this city had a lot of money, a lot of tourism, a lot of arcade places, a lot of good food to eat, and a lot of towns love to come out and eat. So let's not forget that as well. So it's like the 80s in Baltimore was a kind of crazy time, because during this time period as well, crack epidemic. Once the crack epidemic has rise, it was not the same city anymore. It really took away a lot of the fun. A lot of drug dealers kind of make the name for themselves, like the Barksdales. You got the Real Stansfield, Peanut King. So many different names that I didn't get to mention on this list. But the 80s in the Baltimore was a different time period. As I was saying, it's like the 80s definitely was a whole different time period. Very fun time. It wasn't really too violent. I just think that the city really got worse after the crack epidemic. You gotta realize the crack epidemic really changed a whole lot of things. Like a lot of families were destroyed. Some people just couldn't come back off. You had teenagers on the crack. Like it was a crazy situation. And also, it was just so many things to do. Like things was a lot safer. You had kids traveling from down the hill to downtown. I used to hear stories with my parents going places when they were kids, and my aunts and uncles. So I got a chance to hear those stories and just to know how different times are. Now, when I was a kid, things was pretty different. But back in the day, in the 80s, what a whole different world. You can go to an arcade. You can go to a community center. It was so many things to do. But nowadays, these kids will never experience what it's like to really be a kid anymore. But it's crazy, man. And also, it was just so many nightclubs in the city. Like, if I miss anything that like anybody that enjoyed themselves in the 80s, hit that comment section and feel free to do so. I would love to chat with y'all to know how it really was. Like I said, I'm not from this time period, but I definitely heard a lot of good things in that decade, and that's definitely an honor to know that how great the city was in the 80s. So it was definitely it was like a time. I want to say it was like the city was changing, and it was like in a good situation. A lot of money was coming in. We still had the Orioles, so it was pretty good, even though we didn't have a football team, after 1983. And it's kind of sad to see that all just went up in flames. Like, they left overnight. They didn't take the time. They didn't let nobody know. They just got up and left the city. I think the city kind of was hurt by that, but it is what it is. We kind of got the Baltimore Ravens right now, so we'll take what we got, and that's it. So That's all I gotta say. You know, I think that the crime wasn't really that bad. We had a few years where the crime rate was up, but other than that, the '80s definitely was definitely a fun time in that decade. So that's all I gotta say, man. This is my video on the Baltimore in the '80s. You know, if I missed anything, chat with me in the comment section. Feel free to do so. Love to hear y'all stories and everything else. So that's all I gotta say, man. But I'm out with it, world. Y'all have a blessed one. Y'all stay safe, and I'm out with it, world. Peace.